Just starting part 2 of the doors. As you can see, I've got a lot of clamps on here right now, but I was making sure that I had an appropriate gap inside. And this is something that when I just pushed against it, it seemed fine, but once I put the clamps on there, it wasn't. And I really wanted to make sure that I've got enough room in here that the clamps, that the inside trim in here, if you can see that, this section is not pushing out on the door as I'm trying to shape it to the shape of the plane. But I'll be taking those off in just a little bit, but you can kind of get the gist. Once I've got, you'll see here, I've got the hole duplication tool. So I'm gonna go do the holes along the bottom, get those in place. I'll then cleco that on. I'll put the clamps back on. And then once the clamps are on and I've got it like this, and I'll probably put some weights or something on the top because it's not really easy to clamp up there. But what I'll then do is start drilling the holes out that are marked here. Well, sorry, back up. I'm gonna drill the holes on the outside and I'm gonna drill the holes in here, cleco this all together, and that way I should have a good shape that matches the contour of the plane itself. And you know, just making sure in here, I've seen a few people had some gaps and stuff, just trying to make sure it's good and tight and snug. So just maybe a little overzealous on the clamps, but I think it's important to make sure you've got it clamped in here good. And then, like I said, I'm gonna go drill the holes so that I can cleco this on. And then when I actually do put the doors together and finally epoxy them together, I can use the contour of the plane to hold it in shape while I do it. But up here is a great example, so you can see this, I hope, where there's a gap. That's why you really need to have, you know, something that's pushing down on this to keep it together as you prep the door. So like I said, I'll take that strap duplicator, I'll drill those holes out. It's a lot easier. I mean, you could mark it on the fuselage and kind of align the holes, but this way, you just pop it in there, away you go, drill them out. It stops automatically because of the hole. And I'll do this side, I'll do the other side. I'll drill the holes for this and for the window opening and just kind of prep it for this stage. Two things I forgot to mention. One, I marked on here just so I know roughly where to put the duplicator, where the hole is, because otherwise it's kind of painful to find. And number two, you're not gonna see it, but I actually, over here you can. I did put the screws in for some of these, not all of them, but enough to snug it down and pull it back. That way, just making sure that the frame is all the way in the plane so that as you clamp this door in, when you finally put all the bolts in, that you're not gonna have a weird gap or anything. Bottom done, along here, and I've got clamps on this side. So the next step for me is to drill the holes out the sides and cleco that on, and then drill out the windows, or the window opening area. And this side, the bottom is done. I haven't got it clamped yet because I don't have enough clamps, but I'll do the other side and move the clamps over here. Only need them while you haven't got any clecos in. Once you start populating with clecos, it works out pretty well. The one thing I did find is using the duplicator, it's a little tough to get in here, and you know, I was pulling this out with my fingers, unclecoing each one, pull it out, put it back in, cleco back on. Actually, if you get a little stir stick, you can poke it up in there and pry it out a little bit, and it works so much easier. I only learned that on the second door, but maybe that'll help you out. This is how I'm trying to mold it to the shape and the contour of the fuselage. Oh no, this is not what's recommended or anything by Vans, but looked like it made a lot of sense to me. Like I said, I've seen a few people do it. Just had some weights up here to keep it flat, but you can see kind of a drill through. And I think that'll hold it down pretty good. So when I actually do glass these pieces together or epoxy these pieces together, hopefully hopefully this will keep a nice contour, keep it shaped. Yeah, so pilot side, as far as the shaping goes, it's done. And now I just need to do the same thing on the co-pilot side. I've done most of it. I just need to do the very top. And every time I do this, I constantly check to make sure there's a gap between, you know, the edge here and the door, so that it's not pushing out against it, creating some weird shape. So hopefully this will work out pretty good, but so far, so good. We'll see when we move on to the next phase. All done. Little spot here, looks, I don't know why that's there, but maybe that just needs to be sanded on the inside a little bit. But there's what it looks like with it all clecoed on and through the top as well. We'll see how well they hold. Avoided the sections where the hinge goes in, but hopefully that'll work out well. And I think on to the next step, which is actually putting those hinge reinforcements in there, I believe. So I've got to go have a look, but I think this is phase 2. Thanks for watching. Again, I don't know if it's the right way to do it, but it works for me, and so far it's working out. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe.